Whoa! It's time for part 3. You probably were getting ready to break into the remainder of the song, as was I, but we have appreciation to do. Appreciation for a beautiful, sexy, suave, brilliant, smart thinking, skillful clicking, and aiming, and other things that are Jaren's. His name is Grubby, and we like him. We like what he does with Protoss and HotS! Heart of the Swarm, baby! Now, a lot of what we saw in part 1 and 2 was not just the Oracle being totally fucking rad, but also seeing how it integrated with the economy. Game 1, I think, was a little bit better of an example of that, because in Game 2, Grubby hid an expansion that was found immediately. Oops. So, in this game, I think this is the best example of all 3 parts of just a very cleanly executed strategy that is not grossly excessive. God, my eyes are like so dang dry. Oh, this is what happens when you spend the morning drinking only coffee and no water. So I've been horking it down now. What were we talking about? Ah, yes, the Protoss vs. Terran opening that we're about to see. Now, I'm sure as many of you, well, at least if you play Protoss, you know, it's a real pain in the ass to feel like you have options when you early expand as a Protoss player. Up until, I would say, 8 or 9 minutes, until you really get a sense of what your Terran buddy is doing, you have a lot of stuff that you need to account for and not a lot of ways to hold it off differently. So for instance, if you do an early expand, a 1-gate early expand, and your opponent has walled in, and you can't get a read on him, well, now you have to worry about a 5-minute and 30-second Marine Marauder push, you have to worry about some 4-minute, 45-second straight Marine bunker pressure, you have to worry about an early expand, but that even ignoring the early expand, you still have to worry about things like Hellion drops and Banshee play and all that jazz. So you kind of are forced to do some mixture of a Robo and 3 gateways. So that's why you see lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of people going early expand, building 2 gateways in addition to the first one. Let me rephrase that. They early expand, get a total of 3 gateways, and then don't even use the 3 gateways. The Mothership core solves a lot of this by being able to turn the front nexus into a big-ass damn cannon. Now, it doesn't last permanently, it lasts a temporary amount of time, so it will delay attacks if you end up throwing it down. But most importantly, we still have a little bit of time to get up something cute. So let's see what Grubby ends up doing in this game. Playing on my favorite map in Heart of the Swarm, Howling Peak. The Noobinator. Grubby begging the Noobinator for noob mercy. The only thing that I have going for me is that I am not a noob. That doesn't sound accurate. Whew, says Grubby. Few indeed. So Grubby's going to do the usual sort of opening. I am. Ah. Well, that's really interesting. A lot of people like to say things like, damn that stream cheater, I should report him to Blizzard, how do we deal with the stream cheater? Grubby's like, come watch my stream. I'm only playing against you right now. What a sweetheart. He values training. He values practice, which is why we appreciate this here build. Oh, shameless brag. Almost 5K viewers. The honest truth, though, is that he's totally earned it. Once again, go to twitch.tv/follow Grubby and check him out when he's streaming. Everything here seems to be of the normal vein. We can now conclude that our opponent is either cheesing us or early expanding. We can generally conclude the early expand by making an SCV count. And also by, you know, seeing the command center get constructed right before our eyes. So Grubby goes for this nice little combination of the cybernetics core plus the early second gas, putting 3 in there as well. And what do you know? Getting warp gate up, getting stalker up, seeing the early expand at the usual timing thing, and then just going to be following it up with an easy peasy core of the mother. Oh, Stargate. Now, normally Stargate play is I can actually sum up for you why Stargate play ends up being very weak. Sure, it's great to harass with Phoenixes. Sure, the Oracle seems neat. Actually, let's pretend it's Wings of Liberty. The reason why we don't open up with a Stargate like this, unless we're going for a Void Ray, mega aggressive pressure, is that if we do any harassment, even though we might batter his economy, and we will batter his economy in a way where the Terran is weak at 10 or 11 minutes. Terran will still have about the same amount of structures and units between the 7 and 8 minute mark. So he can attack us at 8:30 or so, and we as Protoss die. That's the big reason you don't really see a lot of Stargate Phoenix openings. However, we have the Mothership core. The Stalker can come out and do some poking and prodding, see some very typically timed early expansionage. This is, I think, way too overeager, but, you know, no big deal. Grubby goes for, again, some awkward timing where you can tell he wants to expand and wants to build the Phoenix at the same time, but can't quite select which, but we don't really care too much about the specifics because the underlying neatness of the build is still there. There are attacks that can happen at 6:35 and 7:05 with a lot of Marines, but we have this spotter. He moves, actually, how fast does a Marine move? That's 1.88. I actually don't think I've ever looked at that. Oh yeah, 2.25. So Marines can chase that down and shoot that. So I guess you can't have it poaching really far into the center the way that you could with, say, a Zerg player. But with great fortuitousness, we can now go for this very, very early expand, and the Purify lasts for 60 seconds. So again, it will delay attacks. It won't just bone crush them for all time and shut them down. But now we have these Phoenixes that we can do some harassment with. We've never really gotten the opportunity to do that before, but thanks to this Mothership core, we can. And we haven't done direct damage by lifting, but we've caused the indirect damage of the missile turrets having to go up, the Terran player having to play a little passively. We also now have an answer to drops, should those end up incoming. Now, ordinarily you would say, okay, well, an attack will just kill us. But we were able to cut gateways 2 and 3, thanks to this Mothership core, that we can now have 2 Purifies on this Nexus. And we've used that time to just go straight for a robotics facility. So, remember the 10-minute timing that I've talked oh so much about? We see that this is getting started at the, the 10-minute timing is when he can reach us with Marine Medevac. So he can do drops up in here while he attacks our front. Well, now we can buy an extra minute of time at the front of our base as we're getting this Colossus up. And we can position our Phoenixes here at around the 10-minute mark to deny the dropping portion of that. So we still have another full minute that we can harass with, keep an eye on the army, make sure he's not getting too aggro with us. Nubinator is incidentally not doing any of said thingies. So look at this Grubby. Oh, again, a little bit late on extra gateways, but that's okay, because we're getting such a stupidly early amount of Colossus. And we've done the indirect damage of forcing quite a lot of the territories. So I really like this part of this game, because we see that everything else is very Wings of Liberty-like, right? Still Colossus, still Sentry Zealot, still getting range. We're even using the Phoenixes, which is technically a Wings of Liberty unit, but this is absolutely impossible to do normally, just to go straight for Stargate and then expand. But thanks to the Mothership core, and some micro, and some Miss Micro, we're able to do this. And we see, yet again, a nice little expand play. And Phoenixes are, I actually don't know if, I don't know if you were a fan of StarCraft 2 then, but in the late beta and right around the release of StarCraft 2, the standard composition against Terran was Colossus, Speed Zealot, Phoenix. You would see almost all Protosses get one Robo to Chrono Boost out Colossus, and then one Stargate to Chrono Boost out Phoenix. And the thought process behind that was that you would lose your train of thought. Oh yeah, the thought process was that the Colossus and the Speed Zealots would deal with the ground, while the Phoenixes absorbed shots from the Vikings and picked off the Medivacs, but the unfortunate issue that many players wound up against is that a person who literally just has excellent macro and skews towards Marauders just freaking steamrolls you. It's so hard to get enough momentum to get the huge Phoenix and get the huge Colossus numbers, because you kind of have to start out and play defensively, and then once you start going for the Phoenix, that's where the real issue timing comes from. However, here we have this nice, fortunate little pack of Phoenixes that will get a little bit weaker as time goes on, but for right now is like a super critical piece to this puzzle. We can easily do the harassment, and the Phoenixes have the added range 5. See how nice this is? He can't even retreat. He can't even run. Oh! Yes. Oh, yes. With the range 9. Oh, gobbling up all the little birdies. Did he already get that? No, he just started his forge. So, how far are we doing in time? 13 minutes in. Cool. I'm actually going to just halt the rest of that replay because, quite honestly, it is nothing unique to Heart of the Swarm. Oracles get built and Grubby suicides like 7 of them without even using them, and then largely just builds Zealot, Colossus, Archon, and the Terran player just dies on Marine Marauder Medivac with some Vikings and Ghosts. But the reason I wanted to stop right now is not to just kill you and your hopes and dreams of seeing the end of that game, but to step into the Q&A portion of things. Let us go to the chat. If you have a question, just do some Dear Day 9 questions. Let's see here. Some people are asking about the where to get other replays. I don't honestly know. There's not really a good repository of them. But that's why I'm going to be playing Terran tomorrow on stream. It's actually the first time I've played in like 2 months. Ugh. I had to travel so much. Oh, I'm doing so much traveling. Let's see. Ultra Raptor. Day 9. In the second game, Grubby Research +1 ground attack instead of shield upgrade. When you go mass air, isn't the shield upgrade better? I'm actually not the biggest fan of the shield upgrade in general. It's like pretty expensive. I mean, even though it distributes along all your units, shields just don't really have any base armor, at least that I know of. I'm pretty sure that in the game, everything has a base armor of 0 on the shields. I don't know what the exact analysis winds up being, but generally just due to the cheapness of attack upgrades, and if you have good control, you want to have the attack upgrade. Most of the air units are harass focused, and if you're thinking about the Zealots don't actually have that much shields. They evaporate really quickly. I have done the experimentation with Zealots, and ground armor and ground attack both end up being a lot better just by the numbers than the shield upgrade. The only way I could really answer it is with like a big spreadsheet and stuff. But I would say that I would favor just getting the attack upgrade as a poorly explained instinctual thing. Yeah. Covert Muffin, Day 9. In PvT, do you think that building Templar with Oracle to do a Storm Time Warp composition would make a great transition rather than Robotech? You know, I've been hearing a lot of people talk about the fancy notion of the Time Warp Storm upgrade, but I'm not really convinced by it. I don't really find it that compelling yet, because the issue that you have with Stormers in the matchup is not that the Marines and Marauders are getting out of the way. In fact, if you land one Storm on them, even if they run, you've just demolished thousands of hit points of health. The problem is the Ghosts rushing up and doing big damage to you. So if I were building an Oracle, probably what I would do is, let me actually, I wonder how long Revelation is. Let me see if it's over here. Abilities. Revelation, causing enemy instance. Yeah, okay, 60 seconds. So I would much rather cast Revelation on the army and just see exactly where it is than Time Warp. And even then, I'm just not a big fan of suggesting that Oracle, Colossus, High Templar should be the goal. Because, I mean, if you're at the point where you can get all three of those, then you are either way mega late in the game or you've won anyways. So, I'm unconvinced as to the Oracle's use in those big army situations, unless you're in the following situation, where you opened the game and just got 2 or 3 Oracles to harass, and then you went for Robotech, and then following that up, you went for Templar Tech. In other words, the Oracles are kind of like a transitionary unit, and you're just not getting any more than 2 or 3 of them in the game. Then yeah, sure, and there I can think of a use for the Oracle. But I actually probably think that standard Colossus Templar is the betterest. All right. Let's take 2 more questions. Let's see here. I've seen this question asked a couple of times from Axe and Starcraft. It says, would you agree that the Oracle acts a lot like a combination between the Mutalisk and the Infestor? I mean, I'm always of the opinion that those sorts of statements are only valid if they provide any sort of usefulness to me. I mean, I guess you could state that, but how does that help me? Now that I've made that conclusion, am I going to be doing anything differently with the Infestor? And I don't really see that it does, I guess. Maybe I'm missing something. Feel free to just type again. I'll be taking the chat off slow mode afterwards, so Axe and Starcraft, feel free to hang out. Yeah. Or if you'd want to have it be in a sort of permanent way, if you could go to day9.tv, Sir Axe and Starcraft, and post exactly what you mean by that. You can post right in the show number 532 thread. Let us divine in due time. One more. God, my eyes are like super cloudy today. They're like just so dehydrated. Wow. Having trouble reading. Lightsaber mode. I'm really distracted. 510 says Day 9. How do you feel the need for sentries in the mid-late game will be impacted by Time Warp of the Oracle? The slowdown effect seems to work similarly to Force Field. Huh. I would say that I don't actually feel like the Time Warp really works that similarly to the Force Field. Force Field primarily prevents things from getting to my stuff, and in some circumstances, you use it to trap stuff. But you know, I'd say by and large, it's the sort of keep out type use. I'm thinking of things like Immortals. Like, the reason sentries work well with them is because you just sort of keep most of the other stuff away from the Immortals and keep most of the stuff away from your armies and create little valleys. Time Warp, to me, very much so feels like a thing that you are trying to either... It's like a retreat stopper. It lets you retreat and it stops them from retreating. The biggest thing of all, though, is that you're going down totally different tech paths. The Sentry is not a tech path. It's just a burn of gas, because you're always going to have at least one gateway in the game. But the Oracle is like a make a big frickin' investment in Stargate tech and then probably get more than one of the Oracles. Does anyone know if Time Warp affects your units too, or does it just affect enemy units? Maybe it actually says. Time Warp. Enemy ground units enter the field, have their speed cut. I guess it doesn't. I guess it's just enemies. So trying to think of really where that would be useful, other than I did Oracle Harass in the early game, and now I'm in late game, and now you're trying to run away, so let me time warp everything like we saw in that last game. I'm trying to think if I'm actually going to be able to say anything useful right now, because, I mean, to answer the question, no, I don't think they really operate in the same way. I think they operate pretty differently, especially in the way that you use sentries. You're not harassing them like crazy with the sentries and then saying, oh my god, do I have enough energy for a force field here? Because I've been doing so much aggression. But the Oracle, that's like the big question always. So, hell, I don't know. That's the end of the show. Tomorrow, I'm going to be diddling around, dilly-dallying with the Terran pieces, doing a lot of Reaper into mech stuff, seeing how it feels. Hope to see you on the ladder tomorrow. Have a wonderful day regardless. Tomorrow morning, I also cast Zion Squid. Time to see Zion Squid. Bye, guys. Thank you for watching.